My name is Julie. I am the co-founder of Earlscliffe, and I'm also in charge of the marketing and admissions at Earlscliffe. This is our campus. We are an open campus. Okay, that means that we have 7 buildings in the west end of Folkestone, which is the residential part of Folkestone. So very leafy, very green. At the end of the road is the beach. So we are a seaside town in the southeast of the UK, which is a town called Folkestone. We started the school in 2012 because we had worked at different schools before, and we wanted to set something up which was focusing on A-levels specifically, but also on a very, very personalized pathway. So really making a difference to every individual child. So we are a very small school. We are a very international school. And we have currently about 35 different nationalities, focusing on one-year GCSE and A-levels. The campus is all Edwardian and Victorian buildings, so very British, quintessentially English, we have everything within 5-10 minutes walk, whether it's the town centre, the train station, the sports centres, everything is very, very close. The location is great because it's very safe, very secure. Folkestone is a town of about 45,000 people, but it has also been voted the nicest or the best place to live in the southeast by the Times newspaper. So quite a nice location, because also it is only 54 minutes by train from central London. So you live in a very small place, but you have access to a very big place as well. First of all, our academic approach. So we have very small classes. In total, we have around 120 students. We are growing a little bit to 150 students over the next year or so, but that's still very small. We only do the last 3 years of high school, so it's still a very, very small environment, which means that we can have small classes as well. So our average class size is 7. We have intensive teaching, which means that, for example, for A-levels, we offer 9 lessons per A-level subject per week. Most schools offer 5 or 6. We offer 9 because we feel the more time with the teacher, the better they will understand the subject. And we have something called TRACK. And TRACK stands for Test, Rank and Coach. So the students will be tested in their subjects every week. That gets marked and ranked according to the other students in the class. That information also goes home to the parents. So the parents stay involved in how their child is doing. And the coaching element is really important, because what it means is that when students don't understand something, when they do not achieve the grade that they should be achieving, we can identify the problem early, and we can actually give them some one-to-one coaching. Just 15-20 minutes often is enough to do at lunchtime or just after school finishes, and that is included in our program. So students can request it, staff requests it. It's used as a monitoring system for us, so that actually students can, be monitored week by week. And it means also that when they get to the end of the A-levels and they get to their exam season, they have done 40, 50 different tests. So they know what is requested. They know how to answer essays, or what is the kind of question that comes up in their exams, because they have done so much of it. But English language is also really important, of course, because most of our students are international students. Not all of them come to us with an IELTS 7.0. Okay, so the idea is that our English department works very closely with our academic department. So we have what we call a center of excellence, because we have always been very international. So English language has always been very key to our timetable. At A-level, students get at least 6 lessons of English language per week. So the idea is that they get lessons towards achieving IELTS kind of score that they need, but also academic English, keywords, terminology, subject knowledge in terms of the English language. So they work very closely together to make sure that English does not become a barrier to achieving the result that they need. We also have Lambda and English Speaking Board examinations, so we work towards that as well to make sure that students are comfortable standing up, delivering presentations, and you know, their speaking is helped with that as well. We have what we call a Careers Institute, so that is our UCAS guidance. Okay, so we have a UCAS department at the school who obviously advise the students on what degree to choose, their personal statement, interview, mock interviews and things like that. But because we're part of a larger organization called Duke's Education, we also call upon Dukes Plus. And Dukes Plus are all the consultancies who help students get into either top universities or get into medicine or do all kinds of different things. So we have collaboration with them. For example, we have a careers summer school called Invest In, and they also do career assessments. Our students are able to go for days at UCL in London where they do a day on engineering or on medicine or on law, whatever they're interested in, they can do a day course there. And that is completely free to our students as well. So we are able to have those kind of expert sector leading consultancies on top of our UCAS guidance. So it makes it more, you know, we are able to call upon them. We also have been running summer courses for a long time. I think the first summer course that I ran was in 2001. And so we have all these great summer courses, which are more academic, high value academic micro-credentials. And so what we're doing with our students is actually on a Wednesday afternoon, which we call Sports, Culture and Service Afternoon, we actually are going to do these micro-credential courses. So that when a student is with us for a year or 2 years, they have done 3 or 5 different micro-credential courses, which give them extracurricular experience within the timetable, so that when it gets to their university application, they can talk about, you know, I've done this course on artificial intelligence, or I've done this global leadership course, or I've done, you know, all kinds of different courses. And that gives them automatically more to talk about in their UCAS personal statement, and hopefully will put their application a little bit higher up on the top of the pile that an admissions officer at the university will look at. That is, of course, on top of all the different extracurricular that we offer, whether it's Model United Nations, whether it's going to UCL or LSE for a guest lecture, whether that means that they go to the Cambridge Science Festival or the UK Maths Challenge, all those different things we offer at the school on top of the normal timetable. And of course, we also do lots of sports and culture. Culture, we do a lot in London because, of course, we can easily, even after school, go up to London and go and see a guest lecture, for example, at LSE that I just mentioned, or do something in London. But we also have lots of local things as well that we take part in. We do things at the weekend. On a Saturday, we organize all kinds of different activities, trips, and we do lots of sport as well. At Earlscliffe, it is more like a university style where students can choose what they're interested in. So a lot of students like to go to the gym, or they like to do yoga, or they do horse riding, or they do badminton or volleyball. We have also 2 sports academies, which I will talk about in a little bit. So there's a lot of different things on offer, but it's more a young adult environment where students can choose what they take part in, as opposed to a typical British school, which will make the girls do netball or hockey or tennis in different terms. With us, they can do, they have a little bit more choice. I don't know if you can see this clearly on this screen, but we have a one-year GCSE, we have A-levels, and we have two different year 13 programs. So one-year programs which lead to university entry, a foundation program, and also a diploma in business management. We also offer short courses where students can join us for 1 term or even shorter at the moment, to have an immersion program where they integrate fully, and that's something that students quite like, because sometimes they're able to go out of their school just to improve their English or to see whether they would like to come into a boarding school in the UK. So our one-year GCSE can also be used as a pre-A-level program. Because most of our students are international, our one-year GCSE is 1/3 English language, 2/3 academic subjects. If they are more using it as a pre-A level, it would be half of the timetable English language, half of the timetable academic subjects. So it depends on what they want to do. If they come to us for a fast-track GCSE, a one-year GCSE, they would do English, maths, 1 science, 1 humanity, and then their own language. Okay. I've just talked about pre-A level a little bit as well. That's more, I think pre-A level is more focused on English language and also tends to be taken as a shorter term. So 1 term, 2 terms, something like that, prior to entering one-year GCSE or 1-year or 2-year A level. A level is still the most of our students, I would say 80% of our students do A level. And students would choose 3 A levels. They would do their own language, and they would also do the EPQ, the extended project qualification, which is a 5,000 word essay on a topic of their choice or a smaller essay with a project. So it really can be anything. But why it's important is that universities really like it when students do this. At Earlscliffe, they get an EPQ tutor who guides them through everything and who basically shows them how to do a long essay, how to do bibliography, footnotes, how to research, everything from start to finish. So universities know that the students already know how to do the work that they will be doing at university. So it is something that is really important. And of course, with all the courses that we do, they have the weekly testing, they have the small classes, they have the intensive teaching. If students want to join us for just year 13, or perhaps A level is a little bit more difficult, we might choose to offer them a foundation or the business diploma. The foundation course can be on anything that we can do at A level. So we choose traditional subjects for our students because that's what the top universities still prefer. So you can do anything from maths, further maths and sciences, to history, geography, politics, economics, business, even psychology, and art and photography. Okay, so those are the more creative subjects that we have as well at Earlscliffe, because art, of course, if you want to study architecture. So at the university foundation year, they would actually follow A-level classes. But of course, the assessment is completely different. It is accredited by the National Council of Further Education. They would do IELTS as well. So that would, allow them to do all those different things and to apply to university. The difference between the business diploma and the foundation program is that the business diploma is focusing more on business. There are 9 modules in that 1-year course, which are all business related, and they would do that with their own language, because the business diploma is equivalent to 2 A levels. They would do their own language. Sometimes they combine it with art if they want to go down a creative pathway, but that is basically what they do. So if they're really focused on going into study business management or something like that, then they could choose this route as opposed to a foundation program. But most of our students, as I said, are still doing A levels. And then the academic integration program that I talked about. So it's very flexible. At the moment, we even have been offering it for 4 weeks or 8 weeks, depending on when students have time out. We were talking about this yesterday, where students here in Korea could perhaps take it in January, February, when it's their holiday. They could come and join us for a shorter period of time. So again, it's a complete immersion integration program. Of course, we are a boarding school, so at Earlscliffe it is very much a home away from home environment. So it's very cozy, very family style, and we offer single or twin room with private bathrooms. We have also been the winner of the Supporting International Student Award in last year. Yeah, we're in 2026 now. Last year from the BSA, and our boarding is really nice. And in a few slides, I will be able to show you some more photos on that. So Wednesday afternoons are very much taken over by having enrichment, by having sports, culture, service. So it could be anything that they're doing, as well as the micro-credential courses that I talked about earlier. So we find it really important that students have an all-around experience. So it's not just about getting really good A-levels, but it's also about, being part of the charity club, or doing Model United Nations, or going on the Duke of Edinburgh Gold expeditions. And it's all about that kind of enrichment that it can give them. We also are starting a football development program with Tottenham Hotspur, and that is starting in September. So if you are a keen footballer, then that is something that might be attractive. So the idea is very much to do football and study, with a potential pathway of going into a US university and applying for soccer scholarships. So that's where I was saying, with Dukes Plus and the A-list branch, who are specialists in applying for American university, they already are starting to build relationships with universities so that they can, recommend some good universities to apply to. But it is available to everybody, boys and girls, 15 plus, because that's what we specialize in. But it's available to those who just want to do football for fun, but also those who actually want to do it as an elite level, who are really good footballers, who want to perhaps go semi-pro or apply, to university on a scholarship. So they will do anything from football coaching to athlete development to talking about health and nutrition and that kind of thing, but also match day experiences, going for training at the Spurs football ground. In fact, our students went last week already to meet the coach that is going to come in September and that kind of thing. So all very exciting, we think. And we also have a basketball academy. I don't know how popular basketball is in Korea, but that is something that we set up because our previous head was actually married to a basketball player. And so he really wanted to kind of do something a bit different. And so we have a basketball academy. Again, they train 5 times a week. They have match experiences. They join with a local club, which is a Premier League team. And so, they have access to a lot of things, and that's how it works. Because obviously we're a small school. So, if you have somebody who is interested in horse riding, we can provide that because we have built connections with local clubs. So here you can see some of the photos of our boarding. All the boarding houses have large common rooms. When we started the school, we said, let's not have the typical bad boarding in the UK. Let's have, really nice wooden floors and ensuite bathrooms. And, let's make it comfortable for students, because we feel if they're comfortable in the environment and their boarding, if they get good food, they will learn well and they will be happy and be good individuals going forward. So we spend a lot of time also on making sure that the food is good. Some nationalities want it spicy, some don't want it spicy. So we've got all kinds of different, things. And, we even have days where the students cook with the chefs and all that kind of thing. So that's hopefully a little bit of information about Earlscliffe. So if you have any questions, then we can continue.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.